Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the second episode on the £500 bargain Mini that we bought, Mini Cooper. It's just up there. In the last episode, I managed to get 4 wheels on the thing because it only came with 2 front wheels on it when I got it, no rear subframe. So I managed to get it rolling and got the thing running, which is absolute bonus. But yeah, I didn't check if the clutch or anything works, didn't plumb the brakes in, didn't even put the handbrake cable in, so it won't stop if we get it going. I was going to drive it down here, but we also found out that it doesn't have an exhaust on it, and it's really, really loud. So I don't want to upset anyone around here, so I'm going to roll it from there down to here so we can jack it up and start looking at the exhaust system, get the fuel tank plumbed in properly, and we can take this thing for a drive. And then, it's sort of a bit counterintuitive, we're going to put the thing back together, drive it, and then strip the whole thing apart so we can restore it. Just want to say a quick big thank you to everyone who watched the first video and everyone who subscribed to see this build turn out, because we're going to fully restore this car. Yeah, thank you very much, and if you haven't, consider subscribing if you want to see this be rebuilt. But yeah, let's push it down and then we can get to work. Alright, so I managed to roll the car down. It rolls really nice and free. No brakes binding, which is quite good. The tyres are a little bit flat, but we've got ourselves a new exhaust system to go on it. I managed to get this all off eBay from separate places. I think I got it all for about 114 quid. I think this is the first year where these had a catalytic converter on them, so that was a little bit difficult to get hold of, but I got one. It was all really cheap stuff. Yeah, so we need to get this thing in the air so we can get this on and we can plumb in the brakes, the handbrake, mount in this subframe properly, and then we can take this thing for a drive, which would be cool. And then I was wondering whether I'd take this for an MOT as it is, just to see how bad it is, if there's any problems with the brakes, imbalance, all things I can't really quite difficult for me to test here. I mean, the brakes are going to get rebuilt anyway. Finish that, and then we could actually take it for MOT. If everything works, might as well give it a go. Got to know what you're working with before you start the restoration, so I want to get it back into like a driving condition and then go from there. Oh, we also got to mount the fuel tank properly, so I've got to extend a couple hoses there. But yeah, let's try and get this in the air. I was going to put it on the lift, but that won't work because we won't be able to get under the middle of it, and then obviously I need to put the exhaust down the middle. So I'm going to probably jack it up and put it on some axle stands. Yeah, alright, let's go. So the nuts have been welded on the back of these bolts, and the plates have been welded back in to cover them up. It's not the best job I've ever done, but it'll be fine for now. They're going to grind the whole lot back anyway to see how bad it is at some point, but that's solid. They're welded in, all done up tight, so now the rear subframe is actually in the car solidly. I've got to do a bit of seam sealer on that one around the welds. This one is a bit worse, to be honest. The welds are fine, if you can see them, but that plate is covering quite a big hole. Not the best thing I've ever done, but considering the rest of the welds on this car, they're up to the standard of the rest of the car, that's for sure. It's had these put on at some point, I think, these overseals, and it can be really bad for these cars. Where people weld them along the seam, along there, they can rust really badly, and I think that's what's happened on the other side. I just put the cover back over it because it's on and off raining here. But yeah, now the subframe is completely attached. We need to plumb in the brakes and the handbrake, and then we can put the new exhaust in. Next thing, I think, put the handbrake cable in, and then we can plumb the actual brakes in and see if these brakes work at all. I haven't even checked them. I do need to check them. Alright, so that's the handbrake in. I need to put that plate back on there, but it's in. Let's see if it actually does anything. At the moment it's off, so wheel spins. It's actually binding a little bit, but it's not too bad. Alright, let's try pulling the handbrake. That's pretty solid. See if the other side works. Handbrake off, quite stiff. So we're going to have to take that one apart anyway to have a look in there. It should. That's solid. Yeah, that's rock solid, that. Alright, so the handbrake seems to work. Needs a bit of grease on the cable. But yeah, apart from that, that's one job ticked off. Now, I need to plumb the actual brakes in. The hydraulic brakes. Okay, that's actually got fluid straight up to that. So we're going to have to be quick here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, that's not great, but it'll work for now. Alright, let's see if any fluid comes out of these. Loosen them off. I'll loosen the on off the other side too. Right, so fluid did start coming out of this one. The only problem I've got is I've got this one-way valve that goes on there, on the end of the bleed nipple there, so that I can push the brakes and just keep pumping them until the air's gone. so air doesn't get back in. Unfortunately, it doesn't really fit very well on these because these are so small. I mean, I think they're 7mm, so they're absolutely tiny. I can't really get this tool on there. See if I can rig something together. Taking the rubber bit off the end of this. It's split anyway. And I think I can get just the plastic over it. If I push hard enough. There you go. That'll be fine. That'll work. There's a little bit in the cup, so it's coming out. We've got a fair bit out in the cup there, so I assume that's doing something. Although I don't really like the colour of it, that's for sure. Yeah, the colour of that is not great. Let's do the other side and see what that colour of that looks like. We might need to flush the whole system through. Alright, yeah, the colour looks pretty similar. We'll see. At least it's coming out, and I don't think there's any air coming out. Alright, we've bled those rear brakes. Let's see if we've got a brake pedal. Oh yeah, that is rock solid. Actually, you see if we got a clutch at the same time, because we haven't even tested that yet. Have we? I can't remember. I don't think I have. Oh my god, I can barely... The seat's pretty far forward, so I can barely get in here. Alright. Clutch. Oh, it's very stiff. Oh no. Feels alright. Great, so the brakes seem to work. I know the colour of the fluid was a bit dark at the back. The colour in the reservoir is pretty much new, so I think we might need to just flush it through. I assume it's whatever's left in the rear, in that subframe, because that subframe was obviously sitting outside for a while, so it's probably got loads of old horrible brake fluid in it, so that will need flushed through. But they're working at the moment, seem to go on and off. I can't actually test them, but whilst we've got the car up, next thing to do, get that exhaust on. I've got to somehow remove what's left of the exhaust. Someone's just cut it off with a blade, so yeah, let's try and rip that off and put the new one on, and then mount the fuel tank a little bit better, and we can actually take this thing for a little drive. Alright, I didn't film getting those bolts out from that exhaust system because I could barely get my hands in there, let alone a camera. Here it is, what was left of the exhaust. I don't know how they managed to cut that off because it looks like it was hard work. I don't know why someone went the effort of cutting that off. Let's get the new one in. I might have to reuse these bolts. Actually, let's see what I've got because I can't remember what I've got. So I've got gaskets, I think, for the catalytic converter, the gasket, that gasket that goes on there. These are just the bolts for the catalytic converter by the looks of things, so we will need to reuse those nuts for this section. Alright, so the exhaust is on. It's just held on with some string at the moment as exhaust mounts because they haven't arrived in the post yet. I was going to sort of fashion something up, but I've just bought some instead of the correct ones. I'm pretty sure this is right. I'm pretty sure the exhaust comes out here because that's where the gap is. I'm not sure why there's a hook there because that sort of goes right up into the subframe. Unless I've got something wrong here. That hook doesn't look quite right to me. I don't know why that hook's there. If anything, it should be the other side. The mount for it, where the string's going around basically, there's a mount there. So that's where the old one would have mounted on. And the same thing over there. It's that hanger doesn't really make sense either because it's where I've tied that bungee cord around is where the mount is, and that sort of goes straight down. I guess it looks like it should be the other side. Have I got the exhaust the wrong way up or something? Can't be the wrong way up, or else it would stick out the other side. Anyway, it's solid enough. It needs to go about up there. next thing is to try and fit this fuel tank properly so it's not sitting like that. So I need to go around, turn around. I also need to get the gasket for this. I've got some gasket paper, we'll sort that out. Just need to extend these two hoses, I think. Not by a lot, but about like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches, and then that should fit in there. It's just started raining again. I mean, it was absolute bright sunshine 2 seconds ago, now it's pouring with rain. Yeah, let's get to that. Fit this properly, and then we can hear what it sounds like. Alright, fuel tank's in, and the exhaust is there. It's not really on, but it's there. Let's turn this thing on and see what it sounds like. Alright. Ooh, hear the fuel pump. Oh, just cut out on me. Oh, it cut out again. Seems to cut out when the power turns off. Maybe I need to put a battery in this thing. Unfortunately, this is the only battery I can find. Don't know if it's got any charge. I should have checked it before I put it in, but it is the only one. So, doesn't fit. Need to get a proper one. Let's see what happens. These cobwebs. See if this battery's actually charging, because I think that's what half the issue is. No, see, our alternator's not working by the looks of things. It's a bit spluttery when you try and rev it. Sounds like it's got an air leak or something. Alright, so I found the reason why this wasn't revving up. There's this little switch, and this one, so that's middle bit of that switch is supposed to stick right out, and it goes right on the back of the throttle pedal, and when you pull it, it goes in that little hole there. It's supposed to tell the ECU when the throttle is basically at idle, and without it ever popping out again, the ECU just constantly thinks it's at idle, so it won't send any fuel to the injection unit. So I unplugged it, and now it does it idles a bit high, so I do need to get the switch fixed. But now revs up nice. Bit smoky. I mean, it's just steam, I think. Yeah, it's just water. That'll probably clear when the car warms up. But yeah, have a listen to what the exhaust sounds like. Alright, so I managed to free the switch up just by tapping it on the edge and putting a bit of WD-40 in it. Just testing continuity of the switch. Should push the button and it should work, you see. So put that back in the car, and hopefully now it should idle a bit lower, and that should work. Alright, so that's idling better now. And it drops back down again. So that's now working. Alright, so I think the alternator should work now. It was pumping out 14 volts, so it was working, but there's a little fusible wire that runs between the alternator and the little starter motor down here, and that had blown. I think maybe in my confusion wiring up the little jump box, I may have wired it around the wrong way at one point, and that probably blew that. It's probably blown some other things as well, but let's see if that's charging now. I haven't actually tested it, so should be charging. Let's just put the multimeter on it. 13.8. Yeah, that's pretty good. That sounds about right. See if any of it works. What we got here? Indicate. Oh my, so many cobwebs. Oh, indicators. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Try this way. Absolutely nothing. Not even a sniff. Let's try. I don't know. Horn. Horn doesn't work. Headlights. Oh, lights came on the dash. That one works. That one doesn't. That one works. That one doesn't. It's actually blown. I can see that. I think that's. No luck there. Hit this one. See if this one works. Hey, that's back on. That's that fixed, obviously. Is that the horn? Or is that the horn? Oh, horn's working again now. Oh, no, that's aftermarket steering wheel. Well, the lights work. Well, sort of. Well, main beam. Oh, we got main beam on that one. What about these? Ugh. I don't know how they work. See if we can get them to turn on. There must be a switch for them somewhere. Where would that be then? I guess, well, this one, is it? No? And they're rattling all over the place. Nothing really else really works in here. No radio actually, I only just noticed that. Someone's nabbed that. Seems to run quite well. I think next thing, put this on the ground, see how well it drives. Alright, let's see if this thing actually moves. This is probably going to be the first time this thing's driven in a long time. But also, my seat isn't bolted in. And it's pretty uncomfortable. Oh, that's better. Jeez. These are tight, aren't they? See if this rolls down. Oh! Oh no! Oh well, that'll do. God. Alright. Get that cobweb out of the way so we can see what we're doing. Alright, see if the clutch works. Oh yeah, I've managed to select that's first gear. I don't really want first gear, do I? I want reverse. Lift. Seems to be alright. See what happens. Oh, we're off. Oh, that was a noise. See where I'm going. Going. Let's go. Brakes work. Oh my god. Those brakes are not great. I mean, they do stop the car, but they really aren't that good. Alright, so this thing runs and drives pretty sweet, to be honest. No real noises from any of the suspension or anything. Sounds really good. Runs great as well. The it revs up fantastically. I can't wait to take this thing out on the road. I know that maybe didn't seem like quite a lot of work in this video, but it actually took quite a lot of time troubleshooting all the issues with like the alternator and where the reason it wasn't revving up. Things like that took quite a while, mainly because I don't really know what I'm doing. But so the next step with this, I either weld up a few holes that are in it and take it for an MOT, see how bad it is. When I say a few holes, it's not actually only really one hole, I think, that's in the floor that needs welding up. Or we strip it right down, put it in the workshop and start tearing it to bits and restoring it. I mean, that is the ultimate goal with this. I'm actually going to leave it up to you guys what we do next with it. Either we put it in the workshop, strip it down to pieces, or I take it for an MOT, try and get it a little bit roadworthy, try and have a bit of fun with it before we do that. It's up to you guys. You let me know. I've got a Morris Minor in the workshop at the moment, which is almost painted. I have been filming odd bits of it. It's for a friend of mine. That's almost painted. Just waiting on a few nice days in a row, and then this can go in. Then we've got the transporter to finish as well. That's happening. Just again, it's all painting things, and I just trying to get as much time up here as possible. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.